Hello everyone, welcome back to FC Smorgon with me, Looney Loser 17. First off, I want to say a Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate that who are watching, and an early Happy Boxing Day to the British people who may be checking out this video. As it is actually Christmas afternoon, my time when I'm recording this. So what has gone on since the last update? We are now second in the league with a little bit of cushion behind us to Bate. If you may remember, after the draw that I recorded in the last update with Bate, we were tied on points in the league. So that tells you I've performed fairly well, at least. Still 8 points behind Shakhtar with 11 matches left. That might be a little tough to overcome at this point. But importantly, 6 points clear of Vitebsk in fourth, and 7 points on Rook Brest and Dynamo Minsk, who are fifth and sixth, both on 34 points to our 41. So what else has gone on? Let's start with checking out the results in the meantime. So I actually recorded the 1-1 draw with Bate in the last video, like I mentioned. June was not a particularly busy month. As busy as our schedule had been, I did not feel obliged to try to squeeze a friendly in that 2-week break between Bate and Dynamo Brest. We came back out of the break refreshed with a 3-1 win at home over a surprisingly struggling Dynamo Brest this season. Mironov from the spot, 25th minute, gave us the lead. Timofeev made it 2 just past the half-hour mark. At the hour point, they did cut it to 2-1, but then Kozel struck 5 minutes later, made it a 3-1 final and a televised match. We did have a couple of guys pick up knocks in that match, neither of which were out particularly long from what I remember. Oh, wait a minute, no. Or was that the match where Nadolski picked up that knock that kept him out for a few weeks? Followed up by an away trip to Slavia Mozir, one of the worst sides in the league traditionally. We struck a couple of times early and held on for a 2-0 win. Simone in the 11th minute, Timofeev in the 16th. And then Mashenko picked up a minor knock in there. That was not a serious injury, I remember that. Then the match in this window that drove me a bit nuts. Home match with Vitebsk. I can talk. Match that we should be winning as a regular, not becoming a regular contender for European places, and we lose 1-0. A significant contributor to that, however, was Timofeev got himself on the naughty list. He got booked and then sent off for a second yellow inside 17 minutes. And then they score half hour in, and our 10 men couldn't find an equalizer. Fortunately, we kept the damage to a minimum. Not the sort of result you want on the cusp of European play starting. Because 5 days after that, we played Junesh, a side from Luxembourg, in the Europa Conference first qualifying round. By this point, I had gotten some good news about European places. I'll get to that in a moment. But we start European play at home with a 2-0 win. Kozul in the 45th and 53rd minutes with the goals. Gave us a little bit of breathing room. And we had this was not a tie I was taking for granted, especially with a tough league match in between, away to Dynamo Minsk. Normally one of the top sides in the league. They're not in the best of form this season. Gazmi scores in the 2nd minute at Dynamo Minsk. We get a little bit of revenge for the cup final. That one goal early stands up. We get a big 3 points with a sort of mixed side. I did try to play mostly starters, but like Melnik, I see played, and of course Nadolski wasn't available. Mayakish got into the match. Kaborda got into the match. Gives you an idea how seriously I was taking Europe, that Kaborda and Mayakish got in to play Dynamo Minsk. The second leg was Junesh. We took care of business with a 2-1 win in Luxembourg. Kozul in the 17th, Timofeev in the 37th gave us a 2-0 lead on the night, 4-0 on aggregate. At that point, I toned down our energy to try to preserve conditioning a bit. They got a consolation goal in first half stoppage time, but we saw it out in the second half. Follow it up by another rather frustrating result, a home match with Torpedo Zodino before the second qualifying round of the Europa Conference, 0-0. I did rotate fairly heavily, I think, for this one. Maybe not as much as I would have thought, but because I knew who my second round Europa Conference opponent was, and I knew I was going to need my starters as much as possible. As you might see, this is the Serbian power, Red Star Belgrade, that we played in the Europa Conference second qualifying round. First up was a trip to Serbia, almost 43,000, biggest crowd that any of us have played for in the save. At least the players that weren't from Russia, they might have played for similar sized crowds before. Things did not look very good. Stoyanov gave Red Star the lead. Nikolic from the spot made it 2. I was starting to have nightmares of the Wolves match from last season in the 4th qualifying round all over again. Kozul pulls one back in the first half stoppage time to give us a vital away goal. And then Simone in the 75th minute finds an equalizer. Even though Red Star dominates the match, we escape Serbia with a 2-2 draw and 2 vital away goals. In between the 2 legs against Red Star, we hosted Arsenal Zerzinsk. This match was way more tense than it should have been. Of course, pretty heavily rotated side, because I was going to need the starters again for the second leg in Belarus against Red Star. Melnik scores in the 92nd minute for us to squeak out the 3 points. And then maybe the biggest result we've had in this save so far. Red Star comes to Belarus. Simoni scores in the 10th minute. Vasilevich in the 15th gives us a 2-0 lead. Kozol gets hurt just before halftime. That's a sprained ankle ligaments. If I'm remembering the term right, it's his ankle ligaments. He's out like a month. But we had a 2-0 lead, set an attendance record for our stadium. And honestly, on the night, we did outplay Red Star. This was not a fluke result. We had a deserving 2-0 win over Red Star, seeing us into the third qualifying round of Europa Conference. And in the most recent match, we went away to Rook Brest, who were third in the league at the time, and walked out convincing 4-1 winners. Simoni in the 10th and 22nd gave us a 2-0 lead. They pull one back. Maximovich from the spot made it 3-1 at half. And then off a corner in the 71st, Ranstro, one of my Swedish center back, made it 4. A nice, comfortable win. Next up for the third qualifying round of the Europa Conference is this Diasgori. Yeah, I'm sure I would absolutely butcher it if I try to pronounce the full name. They're a Hungarian top flight side who have finished third in the league the last 3 years running. A side I would expect to do better against than Red Star. But of course I can't take anything for granted there. So August is going to be fairly busy as well because I'll probably have at least the one Belarusian Cup match as well. So like I haven't even played my second round Belarusian Cup match yet, and I already know who my third round opponent would be. I also know who I would play in the fourth qualifying round if we get to that point. It's down here near the bottom. Either FK Kabala from Azerbaijan or Ozjek from Croatia. That would be a much easier fourth qualifying round tie than last year's tie with Wolves. Let's see. I'm just debating which of these matches I show highlights from, because you saw the Bate match. You know what? I think probably the 2 legs with Red Star are the matches to show. Or no, actually probably this first leg and then the most recent match is what I'll do here. So yeah, they off the throw. Keeper was off the post a bit more than I thought in this angle, and they spoke from the spot. This was a big break. I'm always a bit nervous when my keeper takes a free kick out there. Marinov intercepts it. Kozol slots it past the diving keeper into the bottom corner. And then off set piece, or off the kick. He worked the ball ahead nicely. Lifts it up to Simoni. He slots home the equalizer, 2-2. Rook Brest, considering they were third in the league at the time, I think this one, the other one that's worth viewing the goals from. Early counterplay here, Timofeyev up. Simone timed his run well. Keeper came out to try to cut down the angle. Simone slotted it under him with a 1-0 lead. Again, sort of off the counter. Maximovic threw ball ahead. Keeper dove. Simone chipped him rather nicely. 2-0. Just a couple minutes later, that was a very stupid play by McNamee to the right back. Basically had the assist on that goal. Maximovic powers the penalty past the keeper. 3-1. And then off the corner, Maximovic finds that Rancho to make it 4. And you might have noticed I very deliberately said the keeper. July was the open transfer window, and we made some moves. First, on the outs, Ramo Morales went to Arsenal Zerzinsk for $12,000. Morales had really fallen into like 4th choice center back for me. And he's 30 years old. So I was looking to get him off the books because he was making like $500 a week. Arsenal Zerzinsk aren't really challengers to try to keep us out of Europe. So when they made the offer, it's like, you know what, I can see making that move. Sorry, my throat suddenly seemed rather dry, so I needed to take a quick drink there. But Morales, 91 appearances in the league for the club, scoring 4 goals. Wonderful servant for the club while he was with us. But now that he's 30, those physicals are going to start to fall off. His pace already wasn't the best. So good move at a good time for us, especially because the couple of guys behind Morales for playing time were starting to grumble about not seeing the pitch. And in a bit of a stunning move, possibly, Daniil Shapko, the starting goalkeeper, gets sold. There had been some clubs interested in him, so I had been eyeing potential replacements. And then when I was able to get one of them, who you'll see in a minute, on an end of contract for no fee at all, no compensation or anything, Shapko became expendable because I thought he was a lot less likely to accept the backup role than Shabaknia is. So Shapko became available. He went to a Romanian top flight side for $30,000. 73 appearances for the club, conceded 72. Played well for us, averaging fairly close to a 7 rating for a goalkeeper, which is pretty good. But like the 12 reflexes, and there were some certain other things that it's like, well, he's good, but he's not great. And his replacement, the characters in Russian I'm not familiar with, so the way I've been saying this name is Elnur Mammadov. I signed him on an ended contract from Dynamo Moscow 2. He is Shapko's replacement. And I mentioned that Shapko had only like 12 reflexes. Mammadov is 16 reflexes, the same, like 16 handling, one-on-ones is better, and he's 5 years younger. Mammadov's only 22. So he still has some room to grow. And he's like my top valued player. The one potential concern is that he does have like a 100,000 release fee. So I gotta hope that I can get that off of him before somebody comes and triggers that. But he has been very good for us between the league and Europa Conference. 8 appearances already, 5 clean sheets. Gives you an idea of the talent he has. And then the other signing is actually one for the future. Unfortunately, I did not get him in time, apparently, to be able to get homegrown on him. Jonathan Barreto, 18-year-old Uruguayan. A fair bit, can play either center mid or defensive mid center back. I'm training him to be a center back. I just think with like the 6 off the ball, 9 stamina, 8 dribbling, he's not really well suited for the midfield role. The 8 positioning and some of the mentals need work, but mentals generally get better with age. So there's a decent bit to like here as a prospect. Our staff currently has him at like 2.5, potential 4 to 5, somewhere in there. 11 strength, yeah, he's not the tallest player, but 5'11", he's not a huge liability size-wise. But plan is to have him in the reserves for a couple of years, get him Belarusian nationality, sort of like I'm doing with McCook, the Jamaican center back. So those were the 2 signings. Finances still not particularly great. But I do have at least the 1 more round of European money coming in. These numbers still flex quite a bit. And like I said, I did just set new marks for attendance and gate receipts for the second leg with Red Star, because like the previous record had only been like 2,200, almost 2,900. So we got pretty close to a full capacity stadium for that second leg with Red Star. And matter of fact, like we've already exceeded our gate receipts from last season. This season we've made 40,000 in gate receipts already. We only made 28,000 last year, so definitely encouraging signs. And of course, we're on pace for like league prize money as well. I mentioned it earlier. The good news about European play going forward for next season, at least, that I found out middle of June, our league standing and our national coefficient both jumped 5 places because of how our teams have been performing. And that 5-place jump means our teams in Europa Conference will not be in the first qualifying round. We will go straight to the second qualifying round. And the 5-place jump in the league ranking means there's a little bit more prize money available too in the league. So if we were to hold, yeah, we'll lose a little bit of money, but that would also ease fixture congestion just a little bit. So there are trade-offs there. Okay, actually, like average rating, I should be doing this more often, and I just realized this after the last couple of videos. As far as who's performed best for us this season, Melnick in his limited time actually has a 7.41. The problem is he's behind established guys who are playing better usually, or are more established at least, like Simone averaging 7.23, and he's contributing goals and assists. He's my #1 striker for good reason. Sherbakny only made one appearance. I'm trying to remember when that was. Put up a 7.2. Kozul, who's out hurt right now, leading scorer again. He's also on a 7.2. Mamadov, 7.19 since he's come to us. There's a good reason he's valued at 74,000. Matter of fact, Kozul's 27 and he's valued at 71,000. That's our two highest valued players currently. Other guys playing well. Plasencia, the Mexican center back, on a 7.07 for the season so far. And Mironov having another solid season for us, 7.03, racking up the goals and assists again. Goals leaders, Kozul with 13, of course, leading the way. Simone with 10. Melnick with 7. 4 of those I remember came in back-to-back matches where like I played him in the Belarusian Cup. He put up a brace, and then I accidentally had him in where I meant to put Simone, and then Melnick went out and put up another brace. And then we got a bunch of guys. We got four different players on 3 goals: Timofeev, Nadolski, Mironov, and Remish. Remish in limited action is the 3rd choice striker. And then like another 4 with 2 and three guys with 1 goal each. Assists, Simone is actually leading the way, interestingly, right now with 8. Mironov, after back-to-back 14 assist seasons, is on 7. Timofeev with 6 out there on the right wing. Maximovich is starting to step up his production. He's got 5 helpers so far. 2 goals, I believe both of those are from the spot. Kozul with 4 assists. My strikers like to lay the ball off to each other, so it's not surprising to see them both up there in the top 5 on the club. And then Nadolski is the only other player with more than 3 or more than 2 with 3 assists. Like 4 different players with 2, 5 different players with 1. So we're having a pretty good campaign to this point. Let's see here. I believe I've pretty well covered the major developments in the save over the last couple of months. So we will. I did not want to do like I did with the last video and play the next match live on stream, because that's Europa Conference qualifying round. That would just sort of be mean to play the first leg of that and not the second leg for the video. So sorry, no live match play this time. Maybe we'll get another one in a couple of months or a couple months time, depending on how things develop. If things go very well, there might be like a Europa Conference group stage, and I'm not sure how those would fit into the schedule. But yeah, thank you again for checking out the video. And like I said at the start, Merry Christmas, Happy Boxing Day, or whatever holiday you choose to celebrate. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.